Sweet Potato Souffle and Chopping. The 4 Days of Christmas, Part 2. William Hovey Smith, 2011.
Well, this is day 2 of getting our Christmas dinner together. And what I'm going to do today is cook a sweet potato souffle, as well as a lot of preliminary cutting, and get out the Christmas fowl to start to thaw. So we're going to get these things done right now. Now this is a large sweet potato. Now you can bake sweet potatoes like this. This is one that's baked. You can see how flexible the skin is and how it's shrunk. And this is what it looks like. And to serve it, you just cut it, open it, and put butter on it. So that's a baked sweet potato. Now to make souffles, you could use a baked sweet potato product, or you could cut it up and boil it, which is what I usually do. Now when I cut and boil sweet potatoes, as soon as you cut them, you put them in water. You do the same thing with Irish potatoes too, and this keeps them from discoloring. Now I could use any of a number of paring knives to take the skin off this potato, or go absolutely ridiculous and use a tiny blade like this. Now this is a blade made by Buck. It's a little hollow ground blade, and it will do very well. Or you could use, of course, a traditional, common, inexpensive paring knife with a stainless steel blade. These are available in several patterns, etc., etc. And some are very inexpensive indeed, like this chisel ground utility blade here. All right, so we're going to get started, and we just proceed to cut away. Now sweet potatoes are a tough root. They are, like parsnips and carrots and turnips. They also have little eyes in them, similarly to the Irish potato. Need to be trimmed away. Okay, basic sweet potato. Now, to chop, obviously you need a heavier blade. Now this is a Japanese style cooking knife that's made by a good friend Murray Carter. As a matter of fact, I saw him make this very knife. I was in his shop. Now Murray sells knives to the professional chefs. So this is a very high quality knife, and this is a knife that I keep a very keen edge on. So this knife I really take care of. Now, Murray has a new book, just out, first copy practically. All right, and this takes you through Japanese knife making and also the different styles and uses of knives. And he also has in progress a series of videos on the various knives he makes and their uses. So you can actually see how they're done and how professional chefs use them. This you can get from your local bookstore. It's published by Krause. If they don't have it yet, well, you can order it, and you can certainly get it from any online retailing source. Okay, back to cutting. So you just cut through. Now you'll notice how easy this cuts. That is because this knife is sharp. So you can even stack and double cut, like yay, and yay, and immediately put your product in water. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and peel the rest of these and put them in the pressure cooker and start them cooking, and then be back with you and show you some other stuff. Now if you're wanting to cook professionally and you want to know how to clean one of these sweet potatoes efficiently, the way you do it is take a paring knife that has a good handle and about this length of blade. Then you cut off the bottom, and you keep the knife in the work as long and as much as you can, and turn the sweet potato to suit. That way you can get the skin off of it in a hurry, and do any little cleanup work that you need to do along the way by just doing this continuous rotating pattern. It requires some flexibility of the fingers. So this is something for a young guy to do. If you have arthritic fingers, then this becomes more difficult. All right, you keep on going. Cut, cut, clean up, come down. You see this so irregular that it's difficult to do it any other way that I know of and try to get it done halfway efficiently. All right, so there we go. A little cleanup, reasonable potato. Get rid of the peelings. As I say before, these would have gone in a trash can. Then you take your knife, one push down, double stack like this. Into water, double stack like this, into water, one left, into water, clean up your little pieces, avoid the point of this blade, and then you've got to cut up sweet potato. Now whilst the sweet potatoes are cooking, we're going to start some other stuff. I'm going to use some boiled eggs. 2 of them will go in the giblet gravy and 2 in the potato salad. So I'm going to go ahead and cook those today because they'll keep perfectly well in the refrigerator. So we put those in a little small pot like here. Put these on the stove and turn them up and get them started too. Now about this cutting business. When you get your stuff to cut, you want to try to do it all at once for efficiency's sake. So you've got your cutting board clean, got some celery here, some onions, and also some pecans, which I'm going to cut for the sweet potato souffle. So this we get started doing. Onions first. Now with onions, of course, have a skin. Now I usually take the heel and toe off an onion first, and then just scar it around gently like that, and remove the skin like yay. These skins do have some uses, by the way. If you want to color something a little brown, then you can boil the skins and take that juice, and that will give a brown color that's edible that you can put in your product. Okay, then just slice like yay. Okay. Now Murray's knife has a little curve in the blade, so it works something like the Western chef knife, as you see, and when sliced cleanly all the way down, and then you can proceed and slice your onions. Okay. So we have some onions sliced. Now I'm going to do these other 2 as well, but you don't have to watch me, so I'm going to go ahead and get those done. And I'm going to put them in here and seal them up and put them in the refrigerator. Then I'll have sliced onions whenever I need them. Well, slicing up these onions told me something. Onions, celery, and all other vegetables will vary greatly on their pungency. Now these are pungent Spanish onions, so they cause me to tear whilst I cut them, which is just fine. That's part of the process. But what this tells me that I'll only need 2 medium onions instead of 3 in this year's dressing and other foods. So okay, that tells me something. Now this is the difference between an experienced cook and a novice. Yeah, you sort of learn these things. Okay, so we've got 2 onions cut and they're ready to go. And of course if I need some more onions, I can always spike up another one. But this gets this much work done. So these get sealed up, and I use just an ordinary plastic Cool Whip container, and these go in the refrigerator until I use them. Now, about celery. most celery is actually American grown. Something you cannot say of many things, by the way. So we're going to use probably about 4 pieces from this stalk. This tastes very harsh, so usually cut that part off and discard it. It's also the part that's most likely to be dirty. Okay, now that done, you see this has started to oxidize and shrink, so we can remove this. Similarly, cut these little small florets off. Okay, that one's gone already. Now, when you taste celery, what you will find is that the lower part of the stalk will taste differently from the upper part of the stalk. So if you want to taste celery correctly, you actually cut out this middle joint, and that's what you taste. Okay. This particular stalk is about average, so, all right. Yeah, these will do. So cut the slice in half like this, and then use this knife just like a chef's knife, and go ahead and cut your crop. All right. Similarly, long stalk, cut in half. Then just mince and push the work up toward the blade as you cut. This way there's minimal motion on the blade. And you get some nice, fairly uniform slices. Now you can slice thinner than this if you're fastidious, or have something where you want to make sure that the celery flavor gets all through the product, like a soup, for example. With this dressing, it's a little bit different because you want each bite of the dressing to maybe add a little bit different nuance. So this way, when you get a chunk of celery in your mouth, yeah, or a chunk of onion, it'll taste slightly different. So that is an asset. Now some will say that for longevity of your blade, you should always use a wooden cutting board. Well, there is truth to that. That will extend the life of your blade if you cut against wood versus polymer. What about polymer? Well, the nice thing about polymers, and the way I use it, is that these are easy to wash and clean up. So I will use a polymer blade, a polymer cutting board, and just wash it more often. Okay, so we've got celery ready to put up now. So that's done. Come on. Okay, we move on. don't worry about this too much because it's all going to be very thoroughly cooked. So any beasties it picks up from the table surface is no problem at all. All right. Seat it up. Okay. 2 things cut. What else we're going to eat? Well, we're going to have sweet potato souffle. And we're going to need some nuts in that. Now these are pecans. And these are already somewhat cut. They call them chopped pecans, not quite. You want to taste these. Pecans can go rancid over you. And if you buy inexpensive pecans, they can taste absolutely terrible. You know these pecans you get in these assortment of mixed nuts for Christmas? They're usually last year's, and frankly are no good. Okay. These are usable. All right, we can work with these. I'm going to chop them up a little finer. You can see sort of how I'm working the pile toward the blade here. And keep your fingertips away from that knife. So it changes orientation a little bit. One got away. No! Don't worry, we'll get it. When you're using a knife this sharp, you give it your full attention. You don't shout to somebody across the room. You don't talk about who did what to whom. You don't talk about TV. You keep your mind on your work. Otherwise, you're going to come up with a bloody sweet potato souffle. Alright. Done. So that gets the nuts chopped. So okay, we've got the major amount of chopping done. And in the meantime, sweet potatoes are sitting there cooking. So we've accomplished several things while they've been doing. You hear that over there? Well, the sweet taters are cooking. In the meantime, we've taken out our large fowl for Christmas. Now here it is. And we're going to start it thawing now. And we will probably cook it tomorrow, the day before Christmas. Okay. What else are we going to do right now? You remember we use this knife? Murray Carter's knife? All right. We're going to put it away now. It's done its job for the time being. And before I do, take a little olive oil and put it on the blade. Because this is a carbon steel knife, and in this very humid Georgia atmosphere, it will rust. So we do that. We put it in the knife block where it belongs. Okay. All right. So that keeps it out of the way. With knives, you don't want knives laying all around over the table and whatever all the time. Because sooner or later, these things are going to fall and impale somebody in the foot. So as soon as you get through with your knife, you get either laid flat on the table, in the middle of the table, or towards it, never right on the edge, but in the middle, and or gets pushed away in its knife block, or hung up on a peg, or somewhere in a drawer and put out of the way. Well, now, sweet potatoes are cooked and they're cooled in the pressure cooker. You'll notice it's not steaming anymore. You wait till the pressure drops in the pressure cooker before you take the lid off. And I'm going to put a little butter here in this Pyrex dish, because this is what the sweet potato mix will ultimately go into for baking. And we'll actually bake it today. All right, one done. And similarly this one, because I think we're going to have enough for 2 out of that mix. Okay, get that done right quick. Okay. Now, we have our tri-corner colander. And now this has some real special uses, and I'll get around to it when I talk about rice cooking. But okay, we're going to drain with that. Take the lid off. You notice no pressure, no escape of steam. That's already down. But it is still plenty hot. This colander will not quite hold it all, so put that in there. A little of the excess liquid off. So what have we accomplished on day 2 of our Christmas cooking? Well, we have our wild turkey out to thaw. We have our sweet potato souffle here done, 2 pans of that. We've cut up our onions. We've cut up our celery. And we've boiled eggs that are going to be used in potato salad as well as in the giblet gravy. So all of this has gotten pre-done now. What's to do? Tomorrow we're actually going to cook this wild turkey, and so you'll be able to see that done. I'll also make the potato salad tomorrow. I already have a video on making dill deer potato salad, so you can go to YouTube at the W.M. Hovey Smith channel and see that right now. So we'll see you tomorrow, and we'll get into this critter. See you then.
I'm best known for my book, Backyard Deer Hunting, Converting Deer to Dinner for Pennies Per Pound. Unfortunately, actually making the souffle did not make it on the video. Now for the recipe, go to my website, www.hoveysmith.com, and at the bottom of the page you'll find my Backyard Deer Hunting blog. And the recipe is under the post, 4 Days of Christmas Cooking. Now you'll also find my videos and radio show, Hovey's Outdoor Adventures. Good hunting and good eating from the outdoors.